Good evening and welcome to Avenues to Wholeness, Discover Your Superpowers. My name is Reverend Lethalma Yempata, and I have the distinct honor of serving as the Associate Executive Director for American Baptist Women's Ministries. American Baptist Women's Ministries is a Christ-centered ministry with a commitment to encourage and empower women and girls to serve God. American Baptist Women's Ministries is a diverse community of American Baptist women and girls serving in ministry in Christ's name in the United States, including Puerto Rico, as well as internationally, with local area, state, and region and national levels of ministry. American Baptist Women's Ministries strives to create and sustain communities of passionately faithful, mission-minded women and girls engaged in worship, service, and friendship. Our ministries include domestic violence and human trafficking prevention and education, building beloved community, and developing leaders. This is the first webinar of our winter season, and you can register and find out more about our upcoming webinars by visiting our website at abwomensministries.org/webinars. There are a few guidelines for our time with us tonight. You will be muted throughout the presentation. However, you may use your raise hand icon during question and answer to be unmuted to ask a question. Also, this webinar will be more interactive, and you'll be asked to report out throughout the webinar. So just feel free to use your raise hand icon, and then we will permit you to speak. We will also be taking polls throughout the presentation and hope to have your full attention and participation. Lastly, but certainly not least, Dr. Owens has been gracious to offer free 45-minute one-on-one sessions to participants. Access to this special opportunity will only be given to participants who stay on for the entirety of the webinar and complete the post-webinar survey. Please complete the survey so that we can continue providing you with outstanding webinars. Participants who meet this criteria will receive a sign-up link via email following the webinar. It is an honor and a privilege to introduce our presenter for this evening, Dr. Robin Owens. Dr. Robin Owens, PhD, is the creator of the purpose-based decision-making system that helps high-achieving women entrepreneurs and leaders make decisions with clarity, confidence, and in alignment with their purpose. She is also the author of the upcoming book, Purpose-Based Decisions, an inspirational guide to more meaning, purpose, and passion in your life, business, or career. Robin has over 20 years of experience in researching, teaching, and studying meaning, purpose, passion in the lives and work of women leaders. She combines her experience in business, social work, and higher education to bring a unique perspective to her commitment to empowering women entrepreneurs and leaders through her purpose-based decision-making system. She offers online programs and hosts workshops that facilitate professional and personal transformation in the lives and work of high-achieving women who want to make a difference in the lives of others. And without further ado, I will turn it over to Dr. Robin Owens. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lethalma. Thank you. And I want to take a moment before we begin to say, I appreciate you and all the work you're doing for American Baptist Women's Ministry. You're really making a difference in a lot of people's lives, and I'm really proud of you. Doing some great work. Okay, so hi, everybody. I'm so glad you're here. I see people still coming on, and it's great to have you here. Now, before we get started, I want to know who you are so I could tailor this webinar just for you. And so I'll ask you a few questions, and then I'll say a little more about me, and then we'll get into the webinar more in depth. Okay, so this is your first question. How are you affiliated with the American Baptist Women's? Are you a minister, layperson? Are you student, leader, or no affiliation? And you should see a poll coming up on your screen, and Lethalma will take note of that. So just take a moment and say how you're affiliated. And we'll give you a moment to fill out that poll and see how it's going. I see a couple more people jumping on. Hey, people just joining. Hello, hello. If you see the poll, if you just came on, you see the poll, go ahead and answer the poll. You see the responses coming in, Lathelma?
Yep. I think I will end. Oh, someone says they're not getting the poll. Hope Nelson and oh, I'm sorry. Okay, just type it in the box and I'll make a note of that.
Just,
Oh,
just
okay, she
got
said she just got it. Okay. Cool. Okay, I'll give a few more minutes.
Yeah, yeah. It's always good to know how you're connected, like I say, so then I could make sure I tailor my content more specifically to you because you're taking time out of your precious time out of your valuable evening we want to make the most of this since you're taking time out to go through this webinar.
That's awesome. I also share in that Hope was telling us what she does. She is a worship leader. She does worship music. Go, go, Hope. That's awesome. Okay, so in the poll, and we can see we have 42% of lay people. So, and we have 17% of our participants are ministers or clergy people. We have 33% ABWM leaders. Woohoo! And we have 8% no affiliation. Woohoo! You're new to ABWM. Welcome.
Welcome.
Yes.
Okay,
Artika, I'm sorry, your hand is raised. Did you have something to say? I'm not sure she did.
Okay, maybe try again. If she does, you can interrupt me.
All right.
At any time. And this is for anybody, anytime during. If you have a question, just go ahead and we'll just keep it moving. All right, so this is great. This is great. So what I know about you already, just from that poll, is you all have a heart for service. That's what it sounds like to me. Whether you're a layperson, minister, clergy, leader, even no affiliation, that you're here and you're interested in discovering your superpowers with the American Baptist women says to me, service is important to you. In some way, it's important to make a difference in other people's lives. Let's hear a couple people say, if you agree, yes, just type in yes in the chat, or however we're going to do that. If that is right, let me see some yeses.
We have some yeses. I see yeses coming in. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, Angel. Woo. Yes, Gail.
Yes. Patricia, I see you. Patricia, Joyce, Chanel. All right. All right. So this is good. So that was my sense that, oh, Gwinnetta, yes.
Yes. She had the A.
She's like, I'm really all about service. I'm really about helping and making a difference. That's wonderful. Sylvia. Okay, so this is great. All right. Still, I just want to make sure we're doing this just for you. So let's see what else. Let's ask another question before we get going. What something, and you maybe if you can pick a word or two, I don't know how you want to answer this. However, what do you want to get out of this workshop? All right, so you might be saying, well, it says discover your superpowers. I want to discover my superpowers. If that's the case, say maybe why. If you could, just a couple words of why.
So
help
you
me
can
serve.
raise your hand and I will permit for you to speak for this question.
Okay.
So why are you here?
Wow. What drew you here?
Someone said love of learning.
Yeah, I'm with you, Judy. I love to learn too.
I want to be a better servant leader to God's people.
That's great.
Awesome.
Let's hear a couple more. I know you're there.
To help me become a better leader and she also loves learning. That's Chanel. Mary says, I want to know more. Oh, it's coming in. It's flowing. Okay. Patricia says, how can I increase my service? Angel, to know my purpose for being. How am I to identify my gifts and use them? Yes, I'm with you this. Judy, always serving, how not to burn out. Yes, for IG women, that's definitely an area of concern. Clarifying future path, another love of learning, know how to serve in the new year. Yes. To learn to say no to people where it is not my superpower. Yes. I'm newly retired and looking for what's next. Awesome. In the season of transition. Continue to learn and grow in the Lord to help others, to gain focus and learn to say no. Wow. So that we have a couple of those boundaries and saying no.
Yeah, this is good. That means you need to, yes, okay. Boundaries is important. And I love the way you all are engaging. So this is wonderful. And this is how it's going to be throughout the rest of the time. But you've been so gracious in sharing. So let me say a little bit about me. Lethelma gave me that wonderful introduction. But let me just share a little more so you get a sense of who I am and why I'm here. Okay, as she mentioned, of course, my name is Robin Owens. I'm living right here in Los Angeles, where I teach at a local university. I teach in the religious studies department, and primarily I get assigned the world religions courses. So I primarily teach that, and I love teaching. I just love teaching. If I have to have a job, that's the job for me. However, as I was going along and doing that job and loving it as I was, last year, 2018. Well, I can't say last year because we just turned now to 2020. I have to
2 years
remember that.
ago, right?
So now 2018, at the beginning of 2018 in the spring, unfortunately, my brother was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And then by the fall, he had passed away. So that was a very short time. And needless to say, he was going through so much turmoil and pain. And, I have to say, though, in the midst of it, he was very kind and gracious throughout the whole time. It was amazing. And it was hard for all of us, of course. It was hard for us, and it was painful to see him go through that pain and to watch him not be able to do things that he had once done and he really enjoyed. So he passed in October, and then by November, when I started clearing my mind somewhat from the initial grief of that and the shock and the loss of it, it's made me think about my own life and I've always kind of thought about it, but it at a whole nother level, because I said, look at all those things that were important to him that he loved doing and he couldn't do it anymore. And I asked myself, what am I doing with my life? Am I really living my life fully? And that moment was a moment of having to make a decision to do something different in my life and with my life. And I think, and this might be a case for you, whether it could be something as traumatic as that or just a change in some way, and you feel like, oh, it's time to do something different. For some, something about life is getting your attention. That's what happened to me. And so I was already on this path. I'm teaching, as I mentioned to you earlier. I love teaching, but I knew in my heart, it had been in my heart for a couple years before that, and even longer, really, to do what I'm doing now even more. And that is helping others get in touch with their purpose and to make decisions in line with their purpose. And that means, as part of like what we're doing here today, is discovering your gifts and using your gifts. Now, I've been fortunate enough. I really believe, and I don't say this to brag, I'm just saying this so you know why I'm here. One of my gifts is helping others find theirs. And it's wonderful. And I have been doing it like kind of automatically with my friends and everybody I know. And now, after that happened, and I said, all right, I'm going to make a decision. I have to put more of this in my life to make it more purposeful and meaningful for me. So I didn't leave the job. And if you're in a job and you're like, you don't know what to do, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to leave a job or change the position. I added it to my already full life. And what I did is I began doing what I'm doing right now. Began doing workshops and spreading this message of helping people to find their gifts and use their gifts, which then leads to finding your purpose and using your purpose to make decisions. So that's how I come to this. And this is why I'm here today. And I'm glad you're here with me. And it was so good to hear you all say you're here, you appreciate service, and you're committed to making a difference. And so we are all like-minded in that way. And I thank you. I see some people here sending condolences. Thank you and sympathy. It's amazing how something that's so painful in time, how joy can come from it. I still have the pain, but doing this work It brings me joy, and it really is connecting with my soul. Okay, so now I'm going to pull up the PowerPoint um, and share a little bit about the process, because that was a little bit about me. And now we'll talk a little bit about the process, and then we'll come back and talk to you. Okay, sound good? If it sounds good, say yes. Say yes. I just want to make sure you're still here. Type yes in the chat. Okay, I got a couple yes. Judy, I like how you're quick. You're a quick finger, Judy. You're always first.
Yes.
Loving all the yeses. Loving it. Okay, great. So that means you're still here. All right, so this is what our focus is for today. Of course, discovering your superpowers, and that's me. No surprise, right? No surprise there. All right, I just had a little glitch. All right, so now in Lethelma's introduction of me, she said I was the creator of the purpose-based decision-making system. And let me say a bit about that before we continue. It's a system that helps you make decisions that are in line with your purpose. And then you can make decisions quickly, easily, confidently, and again, in alignment with your purpose. And so I've been doing that since that time when I made the decision and started doing this work. And now it's been over a year. But you might say, well, I don't know what my purpose is. So how do I find my purpose? So if that's you, let's hear yes. Yes, I ask this question. I ask this question all the time. If you
Yeah.
say yes to that, put yes. Okay. All right. Oftentimes people think purpose is this grand thing that I have to find. It's once in a lifetime, and it has to be huge, like a curing cancer or doing a service that serves society in whole like that. My understanding of it is different than that. It could be one of those grand things, but I believe your purpose is already in you, and you know it, and it's showing you clues right now. And this is what I mean by that. This is how your life, your spirit is telling you what your purpose is. Your purpose is a combination of your passions, those things you love, those things you absolutely love to do. But not just the things you love, the things that are your values, things that are important to you, those things that really, really, really matter to you. And then the third part, your natural abilities. You can call them your gifts, your strengths, your zone of genius. And for our time today, we're calling them your superpowers. So when you take your passions, your values, your natural abilities, or your superpowers, take them together, right? And then you use them in service to something other than yourself. You combine those three and use them in service to something other than yourself, someone or something other than yourself, which you're all say that's who you are. You're interested in service. So when you get to those, that's your purpose. That is your purpose. Now, for our time today, we're going to focus on the natural abilities that I'm calling your superpowers. Because really, when you get at this, it helps you with the others. And it'll help you streamline to know how to get to your purpose. And like Lethelma mentioned earlier, if you're interested, I have a free 45-minute session, you know, just no strings attached. If you want to continue and hear more about the passions and your values, we can cover that in the session. But for today, since we are on limited time, we'll get the most important one, which is, I think, your natural abilities and your superpowers. All right. So today we'll cover why it's important for you to discover your superpowers, or like I say, your gifts, your natural talents, natural abilities, and then how you discover your superpowers. Sound good? Still there? Let me hear a couple. Yes, I'm still here. Or just still here. Type in the chat, still here.
We do have some hands raised. I'm just going to
Okay.
allow, I don't know,
Let's
Gwinnetta, would you like to speak?
unmute yourself if you like to speak. Just click on your microphone there and unmute yourself
For some reason, I don't know.
if you want to speak.
Right. And, okay, maybe not. Oh, okay. Still here. Oh, it was an error. Okay, keep going.
Okay. I understand. Okay. All right, good. And I'm glad there were some still here's. As I mentioned, this is what we'll cover for today. And so let's just go forward. All right, your superpowers. Why is it important? It helps you do the thing you want to do because it gives meaningful structure to your time. It gives you meaningful structure to your time. And it helps you to do it. Somebody mentioned before about how not to burn out. If you kind of stay focused in this lane, you stay in this lane of your superpowers, you then know how to say no to the other things. And it energizes you. It energizes you and it helps you make the decisions that you need to make. All right. And, I've been influenced by this book, although this has been my work and my thinking for a long time. But I recently read this book, The Big Leap. And the author of the book, Gay Hendricks, says, the goal in life is not to attain some imaginary ideal. It is to find and fully use our own gifts. Now, I put that here just for you to think about it for a moment. Whether you agree with it or not is okay, but I just want to put that out there. Find and fully use your own gifts. Those are your superpowers. All right, and so this is how we do it. We mine your life for clues. How many did you get the handout before let's see, how many of you were able to complete the handout before the webinar? I know everybody has a full life and you're busy. Let's see, how many of you were able to complete the handout? We'll put up a poll and I'll give you a moment or so to do that. And this handout, if you didn't, it's okay. We'll still talk about it a little bit, but it helps you do what I'm talking about here on the screen. Mine your life for the clues that point to your superpowers. So I'll give you a moment to complete the poll. And like I say, if you didn't, it's okay. We can do some of it now. And if we don't get it all done, you can sign up later and we can do the 45-minute session to finish it up. How's the poll coming with Thelma?
If you registered like today, you probably didn't receive it via email because it was so close to time. But if you would like to receive the handout, I can send it to you following the webinar for you to do more work on it as well.
Yeah, that's great. The reason why I ask about this is this way I know how to guide our conversation now. My guess is some of you were able to complete it and some not. But again, like I said earlier, I would like to tailor this specifically for you. Okay, so some 26% yes so far, 74% no. Okay, all right. That gives me a good idea on how to proceed. Now, if you, like Lathelma said, if you don't have the handout, she'll get it to you. But we can do some of this now because I allowed time just for us to do this. All right, so this is how we're going to, if you have something, this is for your own, you can keep this for your own notes. So if you don't have the handout, grab some paper, pen, or computer, however you want to take these notes for yourself. Because at the end of this time, I want you to be able to at least begin to identify some of your superpowers. So if you have some paper, pen, computer, get that out. If you don't have the handout, it's okay. I'm going to tell you what the questions are now. If you completed the handout, I hope you would review what you have, and I would like to hear from you during when I ask questions, okay? All right, so now, you mine your life for clues. We don't often take time to stop and think about our lives, right? Because we're so busy, and especially all of us here, we like to serve and give and may not have time or take the time to think about our lives. But really, the gifts that we have, they show up in little ways over time. So we don't know exactly what they are. So just kind of go along with the process. Don't try to jump ahead. Let's just see what we have here. All right. So when you were in elementary school, what subjects did you get the best grades in? So now you're taking your own notes. You're taking your notes if you haven't filled out the handout. Take your notes. All right. So in elementary school, what subjects did you get the best grades in? Just one, even if it's just one. And it didn't have to be A's, but you just got, it's better than all the other ones. So just one or two. And don't overthink it, just right or just tight. And just keep going. All right. Still elementary school. What activities outside of school were you good at? What were you good at? Were you like my sister and you were young who was, I don't know how she did this, but somehow she took the stuff from inside the house and started selling it outside the house. She was making candy apples and selling them, and she's just good at that. So what were you good at outside of school during your elementary school years? Okay, now I'm going to keep going. I'm going to ask a couple questions, but I'm going to pause and hear some of your responses in a little bit. Okay? All right. So let's go on to high school. When you were in high school, what's one or two subjects you got the best grades in? Didn't have to be A's, but they were better than the other ones. The best grades when you were in high school, if any. What about activities outside of school? What were you good at? Could be sports, could be in the community, could be at church. Maybe you were already speaking in church or singing in church. Even if you already know the answers to these, just still write them down. Okay. All right. So now, if you had any college, if you had any education after college, what topics, subjects did you get the best grades in? If you took some kind of any college courses, any continuing education for your job, any professional development, which ones were you good at? What did you get the best grades in? Even if you went back to college later, even if you went back later past your traditional college age years, which ones did you do best in? Okay, write that down. All right, what activities outside of college were you good at? Not in the classroom, but activities related to college or just during those years, those college age years, or things you did that you were pretty good at. That you were pretty good at that. Okay, all right. So I've been talking for a while. I want to hear from someone. Just tell me from any of those elementary, let's go with elementary school age, something you were good at, just one or two people, either type in the chat or unmute yourself. What were you good at?
Deidre said she spoke at church and started teaching Sunday school and helping her mother. Chanel said math and cheering. That was cheerleading. Yes. Judy, she said knowing what others needed. Gwinnett said taking care of people. Jill said religion, attended a Catholic school. Gail said English classes. Shirley, creative play. Sylvia, spelling words. Wow, that's a gift.
Yes.
Gloria, arts and crafts. Creative things, Hope said creative things.
Great. This is great. This is great.
Oh, Sarah said reading and playing the flute.
Wow.
Cool.
Yeah, very cool. All right, this is good. I'm loving the way you guys are engaging and following this process. I believe it will really help you. So continue to stay engaged. All right, here's a couple more questions. All right. What's something you do that people ask you to do for them at work or in a work environment? So you can pick the current job you have or a job in the past. What do people generally come to you to do? It could be a part of your official job title or not. For example, are they always coming to you to organize the office parties or answer certain kinds of questions? Take a moment and think about it and then write that down. What do they ask you to do or expect you to do? Try to come up with at least two if you can. They're always coming to you for advice, or if they have conflicts with other people, they come to you. Okay, you got it? All right. So let's hear a couple. Let's hear a couple. What's something that people ask you to do for them or expect you to do at work, either this job or past job? Just type it in the chat. Okay, so we have anybody answering? Thelma, do we have any in the chat?
Yep, I was doing my own.
Which is wonderful. That's great.
I'm starting from the top.
Okay.
I said fix their financial issues. Patricia said fix their financial issues. Marcia, helper, encouragement, research. Hope said assist with projects and with community activities. Shirley said compose letters, organize events. We have another problem solver, Deidre. People ask to help solve problems or to speak for them. Gloria said join consultative teams, organize events, handle difficult students. Deidre, organize events. Chanel said motivator and team encourager. Gwinnett said everything. Organize events, resource people, fix their phones, find their families. Gail said, Judy said advice and help people come together when at odds. Gail said wanted to talk things out, sounding board. I'm trying to see. Reverend Arlene said they often come and talk to me about their problems. I feel like that's a trend with women, right? People love, we have that gift. Gladys, fix, solve problems. Monique Kelly, advice and prayer. Make presentations. Mary says assist with ideas to help population that she's working with, training for job responsibilities. Sarah says lead meetings, speak at events. Corralata said they asked me for help, advice, to pray, to share, especially give her testimony, to teach, speak, to write, to also lead and mentor.
Wow. Wow. This is a wonderful list. Okay, we're going to stay focused. We'll talk about them in a minute, but let's continue answering the questions and we'll go back and talk about those some more. All right, so you're doing great. All right, so that was about work. That was what people ask you to do in the work environment, right? All right, now think about outside of work. Anything other than work. It could be family, community. What do people ask you to do then in there? Or just expect you? You're going to be the one that always, same example, organizing the family events or organizing the family reunion or the Christmas gathering, or always what? What do they expect you to do or ask you to do outside of the work environment? I'll give you a moment to think about it and then write that down. Outside of the work environment. Okay, you got it?
Should I start sharing some of the things that people wrote?
Yes. Let's hear a couple or a
Shirley,
few.
Shirley, you're so funny. She says, loan them funds. Ah, that is so funny. Um, oh, Monique. I'm sorry, Monique Kelly. Thank you for correcting me.
Monique was
Um,
like, get it right.
get it right, girl. It's Monique. Teach Sunday school. Deidre. She said, teach Sunday school and pray, pray, pray. She said, did I say pray? That is so funny. Patricia said last minute babysitter. Lori says serve on church committees. Hope said organize gatherings for neighborhood. Wow. Gail said asking how I did something. Judy said lead groups, fix things, teach others. Seems like an endless list sometimes. Sarah said provide health, wellness, and nutrition advice.
Mm.
Shirley said type family newsletter, organize family events. Rhonda said lead groups and plan projects. Joyce says organize family events. Mary said give advice and listen. Angel said people expect for her to listen and support them. Sylvia said drive them home or to an event. Gail said help extended family, especially taking care of children and parents. Chanel said family mediator, listener, and praying. Gwinnett said organize, cook, clean up, drive, do resumes, listen, pray, love on them, spiritual wellness advisor. Monique said an advocate and caregiver. Marcia said asking me to pray. Monique laughed at us about her name. Patricia, figure out problems, drive people around. Judy said create joy. Corlata said to support them, love them unconditionally, give advice, listen, live life. Monique said all things technology. Need you over here, Monique. Corlata help in whatever way I can.
See, Monique, you're getting asked again.
Right?
Okay, so this is good. You're doing good. Let's keep it going. All right, so here's one more question and then we'll talk more about it. All right, so this is the last question. What's something you do that other people compliment you about, but you have this feeling like, why are they making such a big deal about that? So easy. So easy. Like they compliment you or say that you're good at it or just in some way are impressed or compliment you. So what's one or two things, if you can have at least one or two, that people compliment you about that you think is really not that big deal? It's really easy. And then write it down. It might be even hard to think about because it just comes so second nature to you. But take a moment, it'll come. They compliment you or they're very impressed or seem proud or say they're proud. Okay, take a few seconds. And then go ahead, if you haven't already, type it in the chat. We'll hear some.
You have Gloria saying, help family, peacekeeper, resource go gal. Judy quilt design, my own patterns, and her photography. Wow.
Mm.
We
Oh.
like to see some of your photos. Shirley, typing, composing, designing. Wow. Gloria, communication skills, getting the job done. Such a gift. Rhonda, writing and presenting devotions. Gail, leading, speaking, praying for others. This is Gail. Both of them are Gail L. That's funny. Gail Lacey says telling Bible stories to children. Oh, that's beautiful. Patricia, flexible, able to do a task at the last minute. That is a gift. Gwinnett, doing multiple tasks without stressing. Give me your tips. Balancing needs of others. Problem solving. Deidre, how I can stay calm in difficult situations. I just do things without focusing so much on the what. Hope, music, photography, designing home, yard, graphics, other creative things. Milagros, praying and listening. Gail Left Linfesky said leading, speaking, praying for people. Monique said mentoring, as I was a student of Dr. Katie Cannon. That is amazing.
Yes.
What a
Yeah.
gift.
Yes.
Chanel, enduring hard task. Patricia, how organized I am and great at presenting a program. Angel, my personal style, her fashion. Okay. When I MC events and photography. That is cool.
That is very good.
Sylvia says I'm friendly, quiet, always willing to help when asked to. Sarah says staying calm and present, especially in the midst of chaos, speaking up and asking tough questions.
That's all.
Orlana, sorry. Oh, okay. Never mind. She's apologizing about the hand raising. Okay. Preaching, teaching, her excitement about the word of God, her joy in expressing worship and praise, her determination. I don't give up. She's loyal. Mary says she compliments on being a good friend, very responsible and patient. Judy being thoughtful and remembering special days and giving gifts. Oh, that is such a gift. Marcia reaching out to people at church when I read scriptures during worship, singing during worship, last minute needs. Carlotta, her genuine and transparent nature and keeping things real.
Lots of gifts, lots and lots of gifts. Okay, now look over your list, all of everything we talked about so far. Is there anything on any of the questions that came up more than once? If so, write that down somewhere else, like on the side where you're making another list. Look, anything like that came up from your childhood or high school age or young adults or in any of your jobs, anything that came up more than once. If so, write that on over on the side on the separate paper or a separate list. Find one or look at it and see. And it doesn't have to be the exact same thing, but they're kind of related. So take a moment and think about it and write those down. Are you able to identify them, at least one or two? If so, type one or two in the chat. You'll have time to go back and look at this some more later. But let's see if you can find at least one or two that show up more than once. Anything coming in the chat, Lathelma?
Yes. Deidre said researching and digging deep to find answers. Angel said listening. Patricia says her gift, my gift is organization. Rhonda, writing, teaching, religious activities. Chanel said doing well in math and motivator. Gwinnett said organizational skills and nurturing. Hope says music, creative and designing things, organizing. Shirley said creativity in play or activities or writing or organizing, etc. Lori says service and organization. Judy said if expected to do something, do it the right way no matter what. Been told I have no reverse. Gail said helping in church, serving families and children, praying, listening, and leading. Marcy said encouraging public speaking.
Good. Okay, so now let's talk about some of these. Now, those things that came up, and again, I hope you go back and look at these questions and then fill them in a little more in more detail. But look at already some of the things that came up more than once. Think about those things and you started to create a list. This is now giving you an indicator of your superpowers. So now I want you to start thinking about not just the activity on that list, not just the activity, but what it represents. Okay, so let me see if I see one from an example. Okay, somebody said math. right? So math, if it came up and it's coming up, math represents something other than just actually doing math. It means critical thinking skills in a certain way, understanding numbers in a certain way, analytical. So think about what it represents. And earlier in your list, I'll think of some of them I have written down. Somebody said people come to me to fix everything. So if that's a theme that was throughout your life in the early years and you see it even later, or you see it on your list more than once, fix everything. What that represents is they come to you because they trust you to know how to get things done. You might say, I don't even know how to do this, but they're always asking me to do it. There's something in you that says to them, if she doesn't know, she can figure it out. Figuring out is resourcefulness. So being resourceful is a gift. So this is what I mean. I'm trying to give you examples of to take these activities and think about the broader things that they represent. Okay, so somebody type one in. If you don't know what it represents, type one in and I'll tell you what it is. So just say, this is the thing that came up on my list twice, and what does it represent? So let's do one or two of those or three of those. And while we're doing that, let me say the person who said some people are always asking them to loan them funds. There's something about you that comes across as generous, and to some degree, you have some level of, they're thinking you have some level of abundance, that you have it, right? There's something about you. And that also this generosity of spirit. Now, I'm not suggesting that you always have to give to them. I'm just trying to point out and help you pull out some of your superpowers. Okay, did we get anything in the chat, Lathelma?
Yes. So,
That I can answer?
sure. So Angel said listening.
Listening.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So listening, you could use listening in lots of ways. Say a little more about listening. Whoever typed in listening. Who was that?
Angel, I'm gonna try to permit you to speak. For some reason, allowed to talk. Can you hear Angel? Can you unmute your? Are you? Oh, here we go. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we
Yes.
can hear you.
Okay. So people often come to me. I feel I have an echo. I'm so sorry. I don't know if you can hear it.
It's good. Go ahead.
We can hear you.
Okay. So people often come to me, even strangers. This happens a lot. Like I'm in the grocery store and I'm looking at fruit and people will come up to me. Like I had a guy probably about a month ago out of nowhere just walked up to me and said, "Do I look stupid to you?" And I'm like, "Excuse me, I hadn't seen this person." And it just started with him telling me his whole life story. And that's how happened often.
So people come to you and they just know that you're going to listen to them, is what when you put listening, that's what you meant. Is that right?
Yes, like people will come to me all the time.
Yes. You know, Angel, what that suggests to me is it's listening is one of your gifts, one of your superpowers, but also there's a level of compassion, and wisdom. There's a level of wisdom that people just know you have. And now the reason why I'm saying this, what other people see, because often we don't see what's inside of us. And especially a lot of us here, we're very, like we mentioned earlier, we're serving and doing lots of work and we don't see. But when these questions and answers, what people are asking us about, give us clues to what's inside of us that we might not be paying attention to or cultivating. So thank you, Angel, for jumping in. All right, somebody else. One more that you feel like, well, how do I make this? What does this represent? This thing that keeps happening, this activity.
We have Chanel says she's a motivator.
Motivator.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Chanel, could you want to come on? Let's hear more about that motivator.
Okay, let me find you on here. Okay, Chanel. Okay. Chanel, are you able to speak?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Um, it's just like whenever I just started at work and they were all like incohesive, and I've been able to take a role to bring them all together to, bring us as one team. And also with my family, when things go wrong, I'm the one right there in the middle, like the motivator mediator type person.
Uh,
Mhm.
yeah. A mediator. So you have the gift of connection.
Okay.
The gift of connection. And so, and thank you for coming on and sharing. And now I use this as an example for everybody else. So think about that. See how she said they come to me and they want me to motivate, but she's bringing people together. So that's a gift of connection. You can think about now how to use that in other ways, not just in those scenarios. You can say, well, how else can I use this gift of connecting? So that's one of them. Okay, so thank you for coming on. Okay, let's see. Let's take one more. One more.
Okay. Yeah, the funds one again, which you already kind of talked about that one. Someone said English classes. Being good at English classes. What does that mean?
Okay, so good. English classes. If you're good at English classes, it says to me you're a good communicator. Now think about that and see if it rings true for you. You either can write or you can convey messages in a way that people understand clearly. You're a good communicator. Type in yes if that rings true for you, and no if it doesn't, and we'll keep talking about it.
She said yes.
Yeah, so communicator. So think about ways you can use communication. This is to help us all think bigger than what we've been thinking about. Um, how communication will come into play in your life and how you can use it. Okay, so you have a list. You've started this, and I hope you all continue to work on this list and look again those activities that came up more than once and put them in a separate list and do this process that we're doing now and see what does it represent. And for many of you who said in the beginning, the reason why you came onto the call, maybe you're looking for what's next or how to guide your service and how to do boundaries in your service, making decisions. This is a part of it. This is a part of it. If you could start making decisions about what you do with your time and your service that stay within the realm of those things that are in your gifts, those things that are in your gifts. And don't spend a lot of time doing those other things. Now you might say, well, that's hard. I can't say no. It's a way to set the boundary and it's a way to make the decisions to do that. So commit to it. Commit to it. Say, I'm going to try this. Even if it's just for the next day, try for a day. When you're at work, do some of the things that you make a decision that I'm going to do the things that, focus on these things that are my gifts so you can be guided by them. Now, I said to you in the beginning, this is a part of a bigger system that I call the purpose-based decision-making system. It does, if you have them all together, it helps you make decisions that keep you in line with your purpose. When something comes up, this will guide you in a way. Now, we didn't have a lot of time to go over all of these in detail. Keep in mind, I mentioned these go along with your passions and your values. All right. And those things together in service help you identify your purpose. And then you use those things to then make your decisions. So if you're deciding, what am I going to do next? What's my path in life?
Yeah.
Should I do this thing or should I do that things? It's a careful consideration of start with these, your superpowers, then say, but is it in line with my passion? And is it in line with those things that really matter to me? And then together, those guide you and they guide your decision. Now, Lethelma mentioned that I'm happy to help you get another list, finish up this list if you haven't, do the values and the passions on that 45-minute call. If you just sign up for that call, once you complete the survey for this webinar, I'll be happy to help you create that list in hopes that you use it then to guide you into your decisions and into your purpose. And like I say, no strings attached. So sign up for that. Now let's see if we have time for one quick question before we end. Do we have time, Lethelma?
Yes, if you can ask the question in 2 minutes and you answer in 1 minute, and then we'll be good.
Okay.
Monique asks, what type of research did you use to compile your work?
That's very good. I'm writing a book.
Holler, you could tell. She's like,
Yes, I love it. I love it. Okay, I'm writing a book, and this is part of the work in the book. And I interviewed leaders in various segments, business, spiritual leaders, and academic leaders, and find out how they made their decisions. And I see these three categories come up all the time: the passions, the natural abilities or superpowers, and their values. But not just their stories. I started interviewing them because I found it to be true in my own life. That's how I've made my decisions. That's how I ended up in a job, like I said to you in the beginning, that I love. I absolutely love. It's where I'm supposed to be. And all my decisions, I don't do a lot of things that that are not in line with this. And I can honestly say to you that I feel like I'm on purpose, in purpose, and fulfilled. Now, that's not to say I have all the material things I want, I would want and that kind of stuff. Still, I am fulfilled. People say to me, why are you happy all the time? Why are you content? And I believe a lot of it is because I guide my life in this way, on purpose, in purpose, and all my decisions are guided by this. So to answer your question, primarily my own experience, and then I took the experience of others in addition to some scholars who work on this. All right.
The book is awesome. Thank you for sharing, she said. And when that book is available, I'm sure you can follow Dr. Owens on the socials.
Yes.
Facebook. I don't know if you're on the gram, but I know for sure you're on Facebook.
Facebook right now, yeah.
Yes, and so when her book is released, you can find more information about her study and the details of that. And then make sure you take advantage of this 45-minute session. And I know that it's going to be so fruitful. And I hope that you enjoyed your time with Dr. Robin. Thank you so much for sharing your gift and your passion and for being transparent about the loss of your brother. I was like in tears. I just really felt the passion from you. And I thank God that you are walking in your purpose, because you are freeing so many of us to walk in our purpose. And so I just pray God's blessings on you and the work that you're doing, and that God will continue to spread this work throughout all of the world. So
thank you. Thank you.
Have a lot of gratitude expressed through the chat as well. Judy, I'll be sending a follow-up email with the link for you to sign up. Just make sure you complete the webinar survey. So once you close out of this, it'll pop up and you can just complete it. And then I will cross-check the registrants, the attendees with the survey, and I'll send you the link for you to sign up for your 45-minute session.
Yes. Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you, Lethelma. Thank you all for being here. It's a joy and a privilege and an honor to share with you. And I hope you continue to let your gifts shine and be the best you can be, and just be you.
Yes, it was a joy. It was such a joy and an honor to be on this webinar with you, Dr. Owens. And we hope you all have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.